Good morning, everybody. Hey, welcome to Friday, March 27th, the last Friday of March. Hey, it was the last couple days been really, really good in the marketplace. I mean, hey, 3 days up 20%. Dave and I will have a discussion about that and what today looks like. Hey, let me remind you guys that this Saturday, that's tomorrow, I'm having a Ask Phillip Anything virtual meeting, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Watch our Facebook page. You'll see it posted there. And you can link on and click and join the meeting. Love to have you. It'll be a great source of information as we hope the House passes the legislation today. So, hey, we are, it's never too late, folks, to take a look at your current portfolio to make sure you don't have too much risk there. Give us a call at 863-382-0037 if I can help you or any of your family members. Hey, Dave will be with us in just 1 second.
Yes, Kelly there. It's 8:40 here, 20 before 9. Let's check in and find out how Wall Street's doing this morning. Actually, for the last three days, been a pretty good day on Wall Street, believe it or not. Let's go down to the offices of Statler Financial Services. Phillip Statler is standing by with all the skinny. And Phillip, my first reaction when we got on the phone this morning was one of my tip sheets says, it's a bull market now. Wow. Not quite sure I buy that. Do you?
Hey, I guess technically, textbook-wise, as you say, I guess maybe it is because we've gone up 20%, at least that's what the headline says, over the last 3 days. And so I was looking at some of the numbers. It made a lot of them look better. I mean, the Dow, I think, was down 16% so far the last 30 days. So definitely better than the 30-something% it was down the first of the week.
Yeah, according to the textbooks, this qualifies the bull market because it went up like 20% inside of 3 days to set the table. And the reason my tip sheet with its short-sighted look is calling it a bull market is yesterday we were up 1,352 points on the Dow, another 413 points up on the NASDAQ, and 154.5 up on the S&P, which actually makes the indexes look halfway dignified again because we're up to 22,552 on the Dow. And in a vacuum, you could say, oh, wasn't all that bad, but boy, we still got a long road ahead of us, don't we?
Yeah, we do. And let's face it, we think there's probably more bad news coming, right? More layoffs. I was looking at Build-A-Bear. They're laying off, furloughing 90% of their employees. Somebody else I saw was basically instituting a 40% pay cut across the board. And their top execs were basically taking no pay. And so we're seeing a lot of that, right, Dave? We're seeing a lot of CEOs, the top, what we call the C-suite, the top executives, a lot of them are not taking a paycheck during this time.
Well, plus all of us who make our living off of economic activity from others. I mean, our payroll is going to be a little bit on the slight side. We're not cutting payrolls or anything, but commission-based employees are going to be softer than they had been, even if they keep their jobs. And you guys that make money off of the financial activity of other folks as well, we're all seeing cutbacks, and we're all seeing a cutback in activity. I have a little bit of difficulty calling it a bull market, but yeah, the worst may have come, but it doesn't mean it's over by any measure. That 3.2 million unemployment claims that we got yesterday, we may see another week of that as the next wave of layoffs happens.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have another week of layoffs, I'm sure, is going to add to that number. I did see a little blurb somewhere that said we can expect the unemployment rate to be in probably the mid to high teens as this thing progresses. It's just going to depend again on how long this thing lasts and how well companies are going to be able to weather a basic shutdown. And that's the problem. I mean, we're all supposed to be not just socially distancing, but staying home. And if you stay home, as you and I talked about before you go on the air, right? Who's getting the benefit of that? Well, pizza places, they deliver. Any place that delivers, they're getting some benefit from that. And that's really it. The grocery stores, that industry will continue to do well, but the rest of them, not so good.
Yeah, immediate staples only, really, about the only thing that quote unquote benefits from this mess the way it goes. And as I was saying yesterday, when we got that really jolt of unemployment news, the only thing that one can say about this, and Mnuchin got hammered in the press for saying the unemployment claims number is irrelevant. No, it's not irrelevant, but it is. It is something that you have to, at the very least, say, okay, look. In contrast to most of our economic difficulties, we know what the cause of this is. We know there's going to be an end, and the variable is we don't know when the end is going to be. So all of us are cheering and praying for it to end quickly, but the fact that it's quantifiable and definable does not eliminate the pain that we go through for whether it's a short or a middle term time frame.
You're absolutely right. And so I think we still have some pain to go. I think this 3-day rally was just that, a 3-day rally. I suspect that we will see it followed by another decline. If you remember, a lot of times when we have things like this happen, we will see a massive decline followed by an uptick. And I call that kind of the false uptick, right? It leads people to jump back in just in time for it to start falling again. We'll have to test those lows again that we've hit to see if that's really going to be a floor, or do we still have some more to go?
I was going to mention that every recession I've been through, and you and I talking about experience and having lived through these things, recessions and bear markets almost invariably have one bounce up, and then everybody starts going, "Whoa, double dip." Well, I mean, there's always a double dip of some sort.
Yeah, and I call it the false bottom.
Yeah.
But you always have to retest, those lows again to make sure that that's just the market, right? It's going to test those lows to make sure that that is the low, that it doesn't need to go any further to shake stuff out. And I'm not so sure that we've capitulated yet. That's where everybody gets fear and drives the market even lower. And hopefully that doesn't happen. But typically, when we've seen downturns in the past and we've gone into bear markets in the past, there's always that tipping point where everybody finally says, "I can't take any more," and sells. And I don't know that we've gotten to that point. It'd be nice if we don't get to that point, but in the last 2 bear markets, we definitely saw that.
No, I was going to say the second dip has a tendency to go below the first dip, and that's not good news by any measure. And the biggest beast of the matter is the fact that this rally has been caused by the passage of the stimulus, which now is, by the end of the day today, probably going to be on President Trump's desk. So what we've got is, did we really test that floor of around 19 on the Dow? Or was it a valid test, or was it simply propped up by optimism over the stimulus? We don't know that. The one thing we do know is, like I said, we know the cause, we know it's got a finite end, and we don't know for sure what the adjustments are going to be. Was this a legitimate bottom test, or was it kind of a bailout of the market by optimism with the political events?
And you're absolutely right there, Dave. That is true. Is this being propped up because of the stimulus? Is it one of those things that just, hey, we got this passed, so this is this euphoria of, hey, this thing's going to get better, and we still don't have all the news, right? I mean, let's face it, this thing really started 30 days ago, maybe here in the United States, and we really haven't seen the brunt of it yet. I mean, last week was really the first thing that, or really probably the first part of this week, where New York and California, mostly New York, was really hit hard. And we haven't seen it progress out of there. And so that's going to be the thing we have to watch is how fast is this thing going to spread? Is it going to spread? Trump says, "I want people back open for business." And I get that, but is that the prudent thing to do right now? And he looks at these states that don't have much in the way of the virus, and I was counting counties here in Florida even, Dave. We have more than 20 counties here in the state of Florida that don't have a single case of COVID-19. So it makes you think, okay, what we're doing, maybe it's working.
Yeah, here in Florida, it helps to note that darn near 60% of the COVID-19 cases in the state of Florida are right in that southeast Florida corridor, centered on Miami, Fort Lauderdale, going up as far north as West Palm. Beyond that, the state is, well, I hate to say normal, but at the very least, relatively lightly hit compared. The question is, as you say, we don't know what's going to happen. I kind of took President Trump's statements as being aspirational more than promising, but point, nevertheless, is we don't know whether or not setting a goal of Easter or setting a goal of May 1st is going to be wise or is going to be advisable. And the thing is, neither Trump nor the healthcare people are going to know for sure until we see what the curve looks like. And we haven't flattened it out yet. That much we do know.
Well, you're right. We haven't flattened it out yet. The other thing I think is that that's going to be a telling point is when they finally do say, okay, we think that for the most part we're okay. And now people remember back the Chinese people went flooding back into their normal life, and all of a sudden the coronavirus rose again, right? And outbreaks rose again, and so that will be the real test is when people go back out and things become quote normal. What happens to the virus? Do we see it reinsurge again? That'll be the test. I'm looking for Memorial Day as kind of being the exit point.
Understood. We're kind of sounding like we're spreading big gray clouds all over the world, and we don't mean to, but at the same time, hate to see the quote unquote amateurs get optimistic on this and say, oh, we're all going to go straight back up again, and then get disappointed later on. We know it's going to end. We know it's going to be fine. We know the world will continue turning, and we know the sun will come up tomorrow morning. We just don't know for 100% certainty when this bug is going to be gone. So lest anybody think that we're throwing palls on everything, no, we're not. We're simply trying to be the voice of caution here. Got a couple of reports that came out that may give us reason for looking at what could be happening. You mentioned the teddy bear factory not having good news, right?
Exactly, and they didn't have any earnings. They just a headline saying, hey, we're laying off 90% of our folks. On the earnings front, though, we did have two companies come out and report. KB Homes came out. They beat by 18 cents a share. Revenue was slightly above what everybody had forecasted. They had some really good numbers, though. I mean, 31% increase in orders, 28% jump in deliveries. But as most companies are doing, they have pulled or withdrawn their 2020 forecast because of the COVID-19, just not knowing what that's going to do to them going forward. And so they are trading up this morning by about 3.5%.
The trend continues. They're not penalizing companies for pulling guidance, which is probably the smart and prudent thing to do at this point, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think you have much of a choice to pull guidance because there's so much uncertainty out there. The other one I have is Lululemon, the exercise clothing company. They came out beat by 4 cents a share. Their revenue was slightly above what was expected. They did see a significant downturn during the second week of March. And so they've closed their stores in the US and Europe. So that's obviously going to be an impact on them. They're down 4% this morning.
All right. Basically, the picture I'm drawing from the little spotty pictures we're getting out of earnings reports is that just reassurance, the underpinnings on the economy were in perfectly fine shape, or at least approximately decent shape anyway, before we hit this hiccup, which once again brings us back to we know it's going to end. And when it's over, the underpinnings are still there, assuming we haven't done permanent damage to the economy. We'll be within the range of halfway decent, right?
Yeah, and that's the question right there. Do we do permanent damage to these companies where they can't crawl back out? You know, I'm looking at Cheesecake Factory. We talked about them yesterday in terms of they won't be able to make their rent obligations on the 1st of April. They're furloughing 41,000 employees and then cutting their corporate employees' pay by 10 to 20%. So
I also look at the big box retailers that you and I were kind of saying are on death's door to begin with, getting through the fourth quarter. Now, a lot of those big box retailers closing their doors as a matter of safety. Are they going to be able to come back? Cross our fingers this is short-lived and let those companies have another breath of life as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing is we want to hopefully come out of this thing stronger than and better than when we went into it.
Absolutely. As Trump was saying the other day, and his point was well taken on this, when we do come out of it, there's going to be a boatload of pent-up demand that's going to be available as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I've been saying is that's why I think that once we finally do get out of this, that we'll see like we saw these last 3 days. The problem is I don't think we're out of it yet. We'll see more days like that when this thing finally comes to an end.
Exactly, which is why we're saying don't look at this recovery as being the end of the whole thing. It simply is that dip before we find out exactly when it is going to end. We're urging caution, not cynicism here. 45 minutes before we open this morning, Phillip, give me the news as it is. It's red this morning for the first time in 3 days.
It is red this morning, and we've been all over the place, right? We've been down 200, we've been down 800. Right now, we're down almost 700 points. We're down 670, 3% on the Dow. We're down 2.8% on the S&P 500, and down 2.4% on the Nasdaq. So everything's green. I mean green. Everything's red and very red at this point, and including the commodity side of things. We got silver down 1.2%. We got gold down 1.5%, and then we've got crude oil down 2.9% right now, $21.93 a barrel.
All righty. Overseas markets, Asia was following in our optimism from yesterday. They all closed up. European markets are looking at our futures halfway through their trading day. They're generally down this morning. Phillip, advice is always needed. I know you can get it to people in all kinds of different ways. Facebook, phone, web, and on the radio. What's the best way to find you these days?
Hey, then give us a call at 863-382-0037. Let me invite everybody to like our page on Facebook, Statler Financial Services. You can get information there. We are going to hold a virtual Ask Phillip Anything coming up on tomorrow, Saturday, at 10 a.m. If you'll look at my Facebook page, you'll see an invite there and exactly how to log into that, or a phone number where you can call. And then the radio show this weekend, talk about volatility, how the virus affects that. 6 a.m. and noon on Saturday, 10 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Hey, tune in. News Talk 7:30. We're there. We're there to help guide you through all the stuff that's happening, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All righty. Thank you, Phil. We'll catch you on Monday here on Light FM as well. Be well, my friend.
Thanks, buddy. Have a great weekend.
It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler. Remember that.
Hey, folks, again, please join me tomorrow, Saturday, March 28th, 10 a.m. Check us out on Facebook. You'll find the link there. I hope you'll join us. We'll talk about whatever comes out, and we'll readdress what's happened this last week or two. But I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Ask Phillip Anything. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.